Saha's first time getting on the bike was when he was about 1.5. He is now 5 and really enjoys riding his bike. In this video, we will show you the steps he took to riding his bike from the beginning. Please be advised that these teaching methods are not based on professional techniques, but rather based on our personal experience. Before we begin, if you would rather skip the steps we took, my advice is for the parent, when teaching the child how to ride a bike, not to hold the bike for support, but rather hold the child. Place your hands under the arms of the child instead of holding the bike, because this will allow the child to learn how to balance and ride on his own. Now let's begin. When is it a good time to teach a child how to ride a bicycle? There are many opinions on when to start, and many would say that the appropriate age would be around 4 or 5. But in our opinion, there is no right time, but there are rather some conditions that have to be met. 1. The physical size of the child, so that he can fit into a bike, and 2. The balancing ability of the child. In other words, the child's feet should be able to touch the ground when standing over the seat of the bicycle. Also, the child should be able to hold on to the bike and balance on it, and the child should be big enough and strong enough to control the bike. We believe these are the basic conditions needed to teach a child how to ride a bike. Training method. What do we teach? In Saha's case, before teaching him how to start and stop or start and brake, we taught him how to ride on the bike first. Here there are 3 points. First, balancing. Second, pedaling. And third, using the handles or changing directions. We will go into the details on how we applied these points to Saha in 7 stages. Stage 1. Balancing and going straight. You should always begin with a balance bike. The first step is learning to balance. The objective is to safely guide with both feet off the ground for over 2 seconds. If you can't find a balance bike, you can simply take off the pedals of a small bike. The lighter the bike, the better. Stage 2. Using the handles to change directions while maintaining balance. In this stage, the objective is to be able to change directions and not lose balance even when speeding up. Stage 3. Pedaling. Pedaling and going straight. If the child is comfortable with the balance bike, now you can begin riding on a bike with training wheels. The bike Saha is on is a 12-inch bike. The objective here is for the child to understand how pedaling works, that if they step on the pedal, the wheel would move and the bike would move forward. That pedaling backwards doesn't work, and also it is about understanding that this is not just about stepping on the pedal, but rather pushing through, using both feet to make a continuous circular motion. As you can see, Saha used to only step on the pedal slightly, not pushing all the way through, but he later understood the idea of pedaling. Our tip here is, number 1, we recommend using a regular 2-wheeled bike with training wheels as opposed to a tricycle, which of course is more stable. Getting used to a 2-wheeled bike will help with the balancing. Number 2, the training wheel should be level to the back wheel and the ground. While sometimes people put the training wheels slightly higher to improve the child's balancing skills, we don't think these really help with the balancing, and it can be bad for the posture and form. Stage 4. Combining changing directions and pedaling. At first, Saha could only go straight and could not change directions, but here you can see how Saha feels comfortable enough to use the handles and change directions. The objective of this phase is to keep pedaling and not lose balance and go a little faster. Stage 5. Combining balancing, pedaling, and changing directions. You can now remove the training wheels. At first, the parent will have to hold on the child and guide him so he can eventually ride on his own. Try not to hold on too tightly, but allow him to balance and only hold when you feel he loses balance. If the child hasn't learned how to use the brakes yet, the parent will have to follow the child and help him brake and stop. Even though the child can ride on his own, at this stage, the parent will have to push the child forward to give him momentum, as he will not be able to create his own momentum from a standstill position. Many people begin riding their bike from this stage, so let me repeat again the tip. Do not hold the bike, but support the child. Leave the bike to the child. This is how they will learn quickly how to ride. Stage 6. Using the brakes. The objectives here is for the child to understand how to use the brakes, to be able to gradually slow down and stop. In Zaha's case, we got him a bike with coaster brakes. In any case, here we explain teaching using handbrakes. Have your child walk with the bike and apply the brakes. You can also show him how the wheel stops when we apply the brakes, explaining that pulling on the brakes suddenly can also result in an accident, so the brakes should be applied gradually. Stage 7. Starting and getting off the bike. In order to get used to starting and stopping, at first you should lower the seat of the bike so that both feet can still touch the ground when standing over the bike. The seat height can be adjusted to be higher later, little by little. For Zaha, his seat is now at about his waist level. Starting. While there are many different ways to do this, if the seat is not high, the child can push off the ground with its feet to create momentum and move. As we put the seat up higher, what we taught Zaha was to stand next to the bike, raise a leg over the back wheel, and put his foot on the pedal on the opposite side of the bicycle, and begin pedaling as he climbs up in his seat. You want to set up the pedals so that the opposite side is up, and make sure to hold the bike while the child climbs into his seat. When he begins pedaling, you can give him a gentle push for momentum. When getting off the bicycle, if the seat is low, the child can get off the bike just like he would with a balance bike. But if the seat is high, the child would have to swing his leg over the back wheel of the bike, making sure he is not moving anymore and he does not fall down. We have explained some of the basic stages of teaching Zaha how to ride the bike. However, these steps apply when teaching them from a very young age, 1.5 as it was in our case. Please be advised that each child is different and that these stages should be adjusted accordingly. Now Zaha is not engaged in sophisticated training involving high-level skills or doesn't even have a special bike with gears, but he has continued to grow and get better. He went on to ride a 16-inch bike and now a 20-inch bike. He can do little tricks he learned on his own. Unlike the swimming videos, in this case, when we could not find video clips corresponding to the process, we would ask Zaha to reenact those scenes, so you will see a bigger version of him in some places. Finally, please remember safety is the most important thing when riding. At the very least, we ensure he always has his helmet and gloves on. We hope Zaha's experience will be of help to you in your journey in teaching your child how to ride a bike.